Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to dig into a massive shift that's changing how the best companies grow. We're talking about moving past the old playbook of just, closing the deal. We're going to explore how to build something way more valuable, something that actually lasts, real, genuine trust.
Okay, so let's just get right into it because we've all been there, haven't we? That super pushy sales call or that generic marketing email that just completely misses the point. It feels old, it feels broken, and honestly, it just doesn't work anymore. So, what's the alternative?
Well, it really all boils down to two completely different mindsets. On one side, you've got that transactional approach. It's all about the immediate win, the quick close, where the customer is basically just a number on a spreadsheet. But on the other side, you have the relational mindset. This is about playing the long game, seeing your customer as a true partner, and focusing on their lifetime value. And that one little shift in how you see things, it changes everything.
So, first, let's talk about the problem with that old way of doing things. We call it the transaction trap, and it's so easy for businesses to get stuck there, completely focused on hitting the next quarterly target and nothing else.
And here's the real issue. When you're just chasing the deal, you're basically encouraged to say whatever it takes to get that signature. And that leads to this vicious cycle of overpromising and underdelivering, which just totally destroys any trust you might have built. It's just not a sustainable way to grow. So if the old currency was the transaction, the new currency, the one that really matters, is trust. Let's get into how making the shift can build a much, much stronger foundation for your business. So, what are we even talking about when we say trust in business? Well, it's that deep down belief a customer has that you're reliable, that you actually have their best interests at heart, and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And this is so important, trust isn't something you can just get overnight. Nope, it's earned little by little through consistent, genuine, and valuable interactions over time.
And the reward for building all that trust? Oh, it is huge. We're not talking about some fuzzy feeling here. We're talking about real, concrete business results. When you build that deep trust, you don't just get a loyal customer, you create an advocate. You basically turn your customers into your most powerful sales and marketing team.
But let's get real for a second. Building this kind of trust takes time. A relationship you start nurturing today might not actually turn into a sale for 6, 9, or even 12 months. This whole thing requires patience. It is a long game, for sure, but the payoff on that investment is just massive.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but what does it actually look like day to day? Let's start with sales. It's time to stop pitching and start partnering. Here is the absolute core of the shift. The goal of your sales team should simply be to help, to be a genuine resource. Once you really get that, you realize that selling isn't just one moment in time. It's a continuous process of adding value before, during, and long after any money changes hands.
And the process itself? It's actually pretty simple. It's all about being a consultant. First, you ask really thoughtful questions to understand what the customer is truly trying to accomplish. Then, you just listen. I mean, really listen to what they're saying. And only then, after you understand, do you start to solve their problems by offering real solutions, not just pushing whatever product you happen to sell.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The role has completely changed. It's not about who has the slickest pitch anymore, it's about who can be the best partner. Now, this same shift totally flips the script for marketing too. The goal is no longer about interrupting people and buying their attention. It's about earning it by becoming a valuable part of their world.
So think about every piece of content you put out there, every blog post, every social update, every video, as part of an ongoing digital conversation. You have to ask yourself, is this actually helpful? Does it answer a real question? And does it sound like a human being wrote it? Because if not, it's really just more noise.
Oh, I absolutely love this idea of flawsome storytelling. It's the idea that you should embrace being flawed and awesome at the same time. Being open and transparent about your challenges, your mistakes, and what you learn from them builds so much more credibility than trying to pretend you're perfect ever could. So, where do you find these kinds of authentic stories? Well, a fantastic place to start is with your customers' own journeys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Be generous with what you know, and instead of just shouting on social media, use those platforms to build a real community where people can actually connect and talk to each other.
Okay, now for this whole strategy to actually work, there is one last absolutely critical piece of the puzzle. You have to get your own house in order first, because great external relationships always start with great internal ones.
And this really gets to the heart of it. You simply cannot deliver a seamless, trust-based experience to your customers if your own teams aren't even talking to each other. If sales and marketing are living in two different worlds with two different sets of goals, guess who suffers? The customer. Every single time.
So, what's a practical way to fix this? Create a unified plan. Sales is on the ground, they bring the real-world customer intelligence. Marketing comes in with the data, the content, and the tools. And then together, they work collaboratively to define the entire strategy. That is how you get everyone on the same page. And this kind of thinking has to go way beyond just sales and marketing. Building trust becomes a company-wide mission when everyone, from the engineers and R&D to the folks in customer service, is empowered and encouraged to share what they know. This can't just be some memo that goes out. It has to be baked into your culture.
So at the end of the day, making this shift is about changing your entire perspective. You stop riding that roller coaster of just chasing short-term targets, and instead, you start patiently and methodically building a business that can actually stand the test of time, a business built on a solid foundation of real relationships. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. In your work, in your company, are you just processing transactions day after day? Or are you investing your time in building relationships and creating a legacy? The choice, as we've seen, makes all the difference.